So anyway, and again, I wasn't the one breaking any laws. You know, laws were being broken, loud noises were being made, rude gestures were being made, profanity was being yelled, but it wasn't by me. I was the victim of those things. Right. But because I was going down there, his interpretation of that law is, you're ultimately the cause. I don't think so, but that's what he claims.
So, but outside of that argument, it seems like you were. What was your goal in going down there? Because it seems like you're sort of trying to push some buttons.
Sure.
Or are you hoping that somebody else gets involved? What was the?
I was being harassed. I put up with harassment there for a year. Okay. I was a good employee, everything. And the managers, I mean, it was clear and obvious who the harasser was, what was going on. I reported harassment, and they turned on me. And then I appealed to the owner. Well, have him call me. And he just he turned on me. And then I go and I start protesting on public, after the initial protest on there. But when I start protesting on public property, then the cops are after me. And I get Ottinger, like Sergeant Ottinger, coming down and saying, well, if you're going to sue or whatever, you probably don't want to be down here protesting. You might get yourself in trouble or something. And I'm like, wait, what? Why would I get myself in trouble if I'm legally and peacefully protesting? Well, you never know what might happen. And then another deputy tells me, even though I'm on public property, if I distract somebody and cause an accident, even if I'm just, acting completely lawfully, if I distract them and they have an accident, I'm going to be held responsible. And he kind of implied that I could be arrested for that. So they were cracking down on me like, hard. And I'm sorry, what was your question?
Well, it seems like you were...
Oh, why? Oh, yeah.
You're obviously upset, but did you have an outcome in mind, or were you just kind of like...
awareness for
reacting?
It was reacting, but I was whistleblowing. I mean, I was, I was reacting, but so what, I guess, tough. I mean, a lot of people seem to have a problem. I'm not saying you do, or that's the angle you're coming at it from, but I have had a lot of people who are, sort of ostensibly on my side, whatever, are like, why? And why is because they're bullies, and I fight bullies, and that's what I do, and it's just where I am now. And I'm not gonna back down. And I don't care how much money he has, I don't care how many corrupt police officers he can bring to bear, how many corrupt DAs he can bring to bear, I'm gonna keep fighting. And if they throw me in jail, I'm gonna keep fighting still. I'm the wronged party here. I'm being framed. It's plain and simple.
Right.
And now, and so, but even before that, I was the wrong party again and again. They just, like I say, every authority figure I appealed to help with this harassment took my harasser's side. It was surreal, it still is. So yeah, I was angry, trying to get a reaction. I was whistleblowing, which is I'm perfectly well within my rights to do. I was trying to get their goat, trying to make them angry because they made me angry. Sure, why not? That's legal, isn't it? I mean, it's not like I was harassed. I guess what could be called harassment went on, but it was, both ways. I mean, there were a few. I don't think it rises to the level of harassment because it was like one-offs for me. Like I sent the video that I made about the harassment, workplace harassment, to some of the folks there. Right. And they say, well, that's harassing them. But it was just an informational video. It didn't, it wasn't even, it's just, they might not like the content, but it's not like I'm harassing them. And one or two of them, like Kelly, I sent a nasty message to on email, but the guy completely screwed me. So of course I'm going to tell him off once at least, that's not harassment. They're claiming it is sort of, but I don't think it legally is.
Right.
Other than that, and I stated this again and again, and you've watched some of the videos, I'm sure you heard me say it, that I was only going to act legally and peacefully. That was my only intent. I said it again and again and again and again because I knew they were going to try something like this. or I suspected they were. Because they started right, like like I said, right from the get-go, they were starting with he's an unstable, disgruntled employee. And at one point, when Gage shows up to threaten me, he gets out of his car, and a bunch of his buddies are standing around with him. They all get out of their cars. It's like half a dozen young men, old big guys, standing up 10 feet away from me, haranguing me. Well, they were just standing by. He was haranguing me. And I reached into my phone. I reached in my pocket, got out my phone to get ready to call 911 just in case. And he gets out his phone and starts filming. He says, "Oh, is that a gun? Is that a gun?" Like they're trying to work this. It's obvious to me. I think I even made a video, something like titled "I'm not a terrorist." I had it like a towel around my.
Okay.
Because it was clear that that's what they were trying to do, and unfortunately I played into their hands in as much as I vented in a way that they could, gave them a straw that they could grasp at. I didn't break the law, but I gave them a straw that they could grasp at. But what really got me sent up, and this is, I started to get there a minute ago. So they arrested me, right? Yeah. On the 14th, after I had protested for, I guess it was about 5 or 6 days.
Was this in relation to the video? Or
well, that's what they claim.
There's like the gun in the background, and you said some stuff about like if it were a video game or.
Right. If there were characters in a video game, I'd enjoy torturing them. Right. If it were legal, I would kill them. Right. I wanted a nuclear bomb to take the place out. Right. Some other stuff like that, which aren't threats. They might be threatening. They're not threats. Because they don't indicate a plan. I've looked at every definition of threat I could find. It says either an indication of imminent harm or a plan. One or the other. It's there's no, and so they're really grasping. To call that a plan or an indication that, given that how many times I stated I was going to just in that video I stated it.
Some of them were pretty specific though.
Sure. No doubt.
Obviously, you probably don't have a nuclear weapon, but like some of the other stuff, like 9mm or Desert Eagle.
That's why that is though. Do you listen to rap?
Some.
Okay. Well, if you listen to rap or you listen to heavy metal, it's a cultural thing. It's not. It's the only difference between. Or let me ask you this: what's the difference between? How many times have you heard somebody say, "I'd really like to bash such and such's brains out with a baseball bat, but I'm not gonna. I'm so mad at X, I'd like to bash their brains out with a baseball bat. I'm not gonna do it, of course, but I'm just really mad at them."
Yeah.
That's what I said. But I said 9mm instead. And I was very clear that I was not gonna act on it in every instance. And I said I was venting it. So, but here's the thing. So they arrest me on that pretense. Right. But then, so they throw me in jail, don't give me a phone call. My sister eventually, my family, and eventually my sister tracked me down. It was group effort because they just disappeared me. Right. And they tracked me down 2 bridges where I was incarcerated. And anyway, so they had my bail hearing down there 2 bridges on the video thing, and they're asking $1,500 bail. And that's at this point the whole thing seemed like a mistake to me or something. It's like, what? I ranted in a video. It was maybe a little over the top or whatever, but I didn't break any laws. Maybe like disturbing the peace at the most or something. Some minor, but the felony terrorizing with a dangerous weapon or explosive device and $1,500 bail, I think it was. Yeah. And so I asked the judge, or I asked the judge through my lawyer, what's the deal was, I guess. I don't remember what I said. Right. But he asked her to justify the bail amount. And the judge turns to the state's attorney and asks for justification. And the state's attorney says something about an email message which got perverted, something I wrote to Wayne Lombard, another employee there, that just got twisted around to sound ominous. And then a statement by somebody, I never found out who, that I was in the parking lot of Swan Lake Grocery, waving a pistol around and threatening and harassing customers.
Okay, so reference to that. So that was a statement that who made to whom and what happened to the statement. You said it disappeared or something.
It was, all I know is during my bail hearing, when I asked them to justify the bail amount through my lawyer, the state's attorney justified my bail amount by saying, referring to a statement, it said that I was in the parking lot waving a pistol and harassing and threatening customers. I remember it was, for some reason, she said harassing and threatening, as you know, which just seems strange to me. Waving a pistol and harassing and threatening, it would seem to me a logical way to say it would be waving a pistol and threatening and harassing, you know, because. But anyway, yeah. So that was like, you know, that wasn't me, and I said that never happened to my lawyer. And he said as much to the judge. You know, of course, my client, denies these charges or claims they're fault, whatever.
Right.
And she says, well, nonetheless, given the seriousness of the charges, we're going to keep the bail amount the same. So, yeah.
How long were you